What is going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. So I've been using the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra along with the Galaxy Watch 4 ever since it first launched. So it's been a couple of months now, and this is my long-term review of the same. Now that the iPhone 14 Pro Max is out and also the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is around the corner, which we've been seeing the leaks and rumors of, I think it is a pretty good time to discuss how the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra and also the Galaxy Watch 4 have performed in this long-term usage. Now if you see on Amazon, this combo still is with the same price that it launched with, but soon I'm thinking it would reduce when the S23 series would be launched. Now ever since the Ultra series were launched from the S20 Ultra, there have been a lot of issues with the Ultra devices and even Samsung devices in general. But with each iteration, they have improved, and on the S22 series, they have perfected pretty much everything that they could. Note that I've already made the full review, and also I've compared the camera of the S22 Ultra with the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So if you want, you can check those videos out as well. I'll link those in this video here. In this video, I'll quickly skim through the good aspects and also some of the aspects which could have been improved and based on my long-term usage with this device. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. Now first of all, if you're new here, please do subscribe to my channel and like this video, and if you're already subscribed, thanks for supporting my work. Now first of all, let's look at the good aspects of this device, something which I've enjoyed a lot in these last few months. The first thing is the design. I think this is one of the best designs I've seen on any smartphone, to say, even including the iPhones. It has a minimalistic camera array without the camera bump, which at first it looks a bit weird, but then when you get used to it, it actually feels a good thing. Although the camera array does attract a lot of dust around the camera sensors, and it is really difficult to wipe them out, but still I think it looks minimalistic, it looks clean, and if you're using it with the case on, then it makes no difference. Now I actually use this device with the case on outdoors and without the case on indoors, because I really like to feel how premium this device feels, and I don't want to take the risk of damaging it, so I use it with the case outdoors. The device feels really premium in the hand, and the weight distribution that Samsung has done is really incredible. Firstly, let's talk about durability. Now with the case on, I have dropped it many times outside, but I've hardly had any scratches or dents whatsoever. I do understand that it is still glass, so I won't recommend using without a case. But still indoors, if you're keeping it on a soft surface like your bed or your sofa, then it should be fine. Although because of this case that I'm using, I've seen some paint scuffs on the back panel, which I think are permanent. So if you're going to use a case, I would recommend using a soft rubber case which does not have any linings inside. So when it comes to the durability, I think it is one of the toughest devices you can find out there. Now coming to the weight distribution, Samsung has really improved this time, and with prolonged usage of this phone, you don't feel that much fatigue or pain in your hands. So I love how this phone is evenly balanced throughout, and also if you want to balance this on a gimbal, it makes it more easier compared to the older S20 Ultra or S21 Ultra devices, in which the weight distribution was not that good, and using those phones for a longer period of time actually made your hands feel that pain. But this time around they have improved, so this is a good thing. Now coming to the sharp edges, initially many reviewers actually made jokes about it, that it might be able to cut through a slice of bread or something. But believe me, it's not that sharp and actually gives good grip when you're holding with your palms. So overall, with respect to the design, I think this is one of the best designs out there compared to any other Android phone or even iPhones. Now the next good thing about this phone is of course the cameras. Now the previous Ultra devices had some issues like autofocus and the focus pulsating, and also in low light conditions they were not that good. But this time around, I'm pleased to announce that the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra actually gives more consistent results. With the laser sensor that is there, it actually performs really well and consistent in low light situations. Although it does have some weird coloring effect, background coloring effect in some conditions, but still the photos overall look very good. They are detailed, sharp, and also if you bring up the shadows, they have captured a lot of details. This is something that I had only noticed in iPhones, but even Samsung is doing the same now. Although I have not used the ultra wide camera that much, but this time around, I was really impressed to see that consistently this ultra-wide camera performed as good as the main camera, and you hardly notice a difference. And Samsung is the absolute best winner when it comes to zoom. Now this is one feature that you might not think at first that you would use that much, but once you have it, it is a really good feature and actually gives a different perspective to your photos and videos with the zoom lens. The 100 times space zoom is not a gimmick anymore, and actually it gives really good sharp images, and even though still they are not that impressive, but still they are usable now. And especially using that zoom lens to take photos of the moon actually gives better results this time. Even though I think it is to do with AI, but still it is easier to focus and also keep it stable. Although 8K video is something that I could not use that much because in indoor conditions it does not work that well. It has so much noise that it's better to use the 4K instead of the 8K. So unlike the Dolby Vision HDR which is there on iPhones, 8K on Samsung is pretty much not usable, especially in day-to-day scenarios. But yes, if you're in outdoors and a well-lit scenario, then if you want to take 8K videos, you can do that, but the stabilization is not that good. Also, it stutters sometimes. But still, 4K 30 FPS videos are one of the best that I would have seen till now. So overall, this is one of the best camera smartphones that I've used so far. But there is one issue with it when it comes to the performance of the camera. So we'll talk in more detail about this in the performance section. Now the next good thing about this device is the S Pen, which comes along with the device now, unlike the previous generations where you had to buy it separately. Again, this is one of those features which at first you might think that you might not use it that much, but once you have it, you pretty much get used to it. Using the S Pen, right from scrolling through the UI, taking notes, using it as a Bluetooth camera shutter button, taking screenshots, extracting text from an image, and all such similar use cases of the S Pen actually become a part of your day-to-day usage once you have it. I mean, for simple scenarios, just like scrolling through the UI or scrolling through your Google feed, I find myself taking out the S Pen even for such simple scenarios. That's how precise and helpful the S Pen is. So believe me, when you start using this S Pen, you will pretty much get used to it and it will start to seem like a good feature and a very productive tool. Also, if you're interested in art stuff like drawing or coloring, then the S Pen has more accuracy this time with less lag, even though sometimes you might notice that lag, but it does not make a difference in the output and you will get used to it with practice. Now that you've seen the good aspects of this device, now let's see some things which Samsung could have improved on or should improve at least in the S23 series. The first and foremost and the main thing is performance. Even in day-to-day scenarios, keeping several apps open, I do find some stutters and lag in the UI and also the phone heats up. And I still quite don't understand the RAM management that this Samsung One UI does. Because even though this phone has 12 gigs of RAM and with RAM Plus, it can extend up to about 20 gigs, but still it never uses that. I tried opening all the apps on my phone, about 30 to 40 apps or so, including heavy games, and still the RAM usage never increased to more than 8 or 9 gigs. And I find some of the apps closing and reloading. So I think even though this phone has the 12 gigs of RAM, it does not ever fully use it. And also the next thing is about heating up, especially gaming for longer periods of time and playing heavy games like Genshin Impact. If you play Genshin Impact for more than 10 to 15 minutes, the phone starts to heat up a lot and starts to have serious frame lags. Although to my surprise, I never noticed any lag or any heating whatsoever while playing Call of Duty Mobile. I think it's really optimized on Samsung phones, but other heavy stuff does lead to heating. Now don't get me wrong, I've done a lot of heavy stuff on this phone, including heavy gaming and also video recording and editing. I've recorded and edited my full-length YouTube videos on this phone itself. Having that S Pen actually gives more accuracy while you're editing videos or photos. To my surprise, 4K 30 FPS videos, even multiple layers of 4K 30 FPS videos, never led to any lag, any issues in the synchronization of all those 4K layers. So this phone is definitely pretty much good with its performance. It is just that the integration of the UI with the chipset is, I think, something that can be improved because it leads to a lot of heating, and even in day-to-day UI scrolling it can have some lags or stutters. And the other thing about the performance that I don't like is about the camera performance. Even though the camera sensors are really good, the camera app itself is not that smooth. Shutter lag is something that has been for ages in Samsung phones, and even in this iteration it is there. In very low light conditions, it sometimes takes about 1 to 2 seconds to take a normal shot. Night sight is a different thing. And even features like quick take. In iPhones, quick take is really smooth. Like if you're in the photo mode and if you long press the shutter button, then you can quickly take a video. That happens so smoothly in iPhones. But in this phone, it takes a while to start recording that video, and also that video has a lot of stutters and lags and pretty much becomes unusable sometimes. Now we all know that the S23 Ultra might be coming with a 200 megapixel sensor, but I would have appreciated if they kept the same 108 megapixel sensor and improved on this shutter lag and camera performance. Because somewhere in all the months of usage of this phone, I have felt that extremely good sensors and also the post processing that Samsung does is really good, but it is all underperformed because of the chipset integration. Now, the next thing that can be improved is the battery. With few compromises and tweaks in the settings, you can definitely get through an entire day or even 1.5 days. And these things are keeping the dark mode on, turning off the always on display, and keeping the battery optimization setting on. So the battery definitely lasts you an entire day. But if you want to go full on, like keep the light mode on, keep the maximum performance mode on, then it does not even come to an entire day. It will mostly reach to 20% in half a day. Then comes the limitations of charging. I do appreciate that the first 50% that it charges is really fast. In half an hour, you can get to about 50% really quickly. But after that, it slows down, and that is to maintain battery health. I understand that. But still, several other Android phones have had faster charging for quite a while now. But even in the S23 series, it is highly unlikely that Samsung would implement some faster charging approach. Okay, now that was it about the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Now let's take a quick look of how the Galaxy Watch 4 has performed in all these months. Now previously I had used the Apple Watch SE 1 and I will compare with that. So when it comes to the durability or the toughness of the build, the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 certainly feels a bit cheaper and feels like plastic. But when it comes to day-to-day usage or durability, it performs really good. I've accidentally smashed it on doors or walls and I have hardly had any scuffs or anything. But yeah, there are some dents, but I think it is still really tough. Also, the strap on this I think is more skin friendly than the Apple Watch SE. Again, when it comes to the accuracy of readings, I think it is more accurate and has more features certainly than the Apple Watch SE 1. But again, the area where this Galaxy Watch 4 lacks is the performance, just like the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra itself. Some apps take a while to load, and even certain small things like measuring your heart rate can take up to a couple of seconds, which is not the case with the Apple Watch SE. It records your heart rate instantly. Also, for some simple things like just turning on some exercise or workout tracker, it takes a while to load. And sometimes this lag also affects your workout. Like if you're doing crunches, it might fail to record one rep just because it was lagging that much. So don't get me wrong, it is not unusable or anything. It really records your workouts accurately and is one of the best smartwatches that I've ever used, even compared to the Apple Watch SE. But still, it can be improved, and I hope in the Galaxy Watch 5 and later this will be improved. So guys, that was it. The Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 and the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra combo is really a good deal if you have some discount later on. That is even in 2023 and even in 2024, because one thing Samsung has really improved on is the software updates, because this time around they will give security updates for about 5 years, which is really a good deal. And based on the leaks and rumors that I've seen so far of the Galaxy S23 Ultra, if you're thinking to buy the S22 Ultra, then you can simply go for it, as it is an amazing device. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.